What's up, everyone? Welcome to Organic Conversations. Today we have a very special guest, and it is my little brother. I am so thankful to have him here in California. He is out in Florida right now, and he has a tremendous story, something that honestly I'm so grateful to talk to him today because it was life-threatening for a long time. And that's the reason why he is the man he is today, from the trials and tribulations that he's had to go through to get here. I mean, it is something that no other human has really gone through. And even me during the Marine Corps could not even imagine the amount of pain, scariness of it, the faith he had, the little faith he had at some points, to grow the faith that he does have now. And it's something that, gosh, I'm so grateful. And the things you've learned, I can't wait to get into. And just he is so young for his age, but his maturity is literally beyond most of my peers. Like, there's 30-year-olds that have half the maturity he does, the grit that he does, the perseverance. It's something that is almost superhuman, and it's really freaking beautiful. And I'm so grateful to be talking to my little brother, Nate Fagen. Amazing man, a G. He is the man, dude. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, Austin. I'm super excited to get into it. That intro was amazing. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. I mean, I want to talk about, of course, the last 2 years for you, what that has looked like, and the extremes that you've been through, bro. I mean, oh my gosh. Like, let's talk about where you didn't have any seizures, and then today, what that journey has been like.
Yeah. So you want me to just dive into my whole epilepsy spiel?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So, when I was 6 years old, I got an ear infection, didn't think anything of it. And then a week later, I'm on my kitchen floor. I have no idea what's going on. And I guess I'm having a seizure. Parents take me to the hospital, and they discover there's what's called a brain abscess. I would say it's kind of like a tumor. Doctors give me some medication. They say it'll be fine. Then another week later, I have another seizure. So they have to have surgery. They remove the abscess. And they say I should be fine. Ninth grade, out of nowhere, I have 2 more seizures, and they put me on medication. And it's like a low-dose medication. I don't really notice anything. And so I'm good all throughout high school. They just assume it was the scar tissue expanding as I was growing. And, yeah, they think everything's good. And then I go off to college.
What is that like when you're having these seizures in ninth grade, bro? Like, what are your thoughts then?
Well, I would say the second one that I had, the first one was terrifying, but the second one I had at my school, and I fell on top of somebody. I pissed my pants in the middle of class. Somebody actually recorded it and put it on Snapchat.
Wow!
The entire school had a video of me having a seizure in class. It was something.
Oh my gosh!
So yeah, it was definitely humiliating to have that in a class where I didn't really know anybody. And you just feel so powerless in the moment. So yeah, the seizures that I had in college. So I go off to school. I'm good. I'm taking my medication.
For 4 years, you're good.
Yeah, 4 years completely fine. I'm not even thinking anything of it. And I'll get into all the dumb stuff I was doing in college later, but just for epilepsy. So I just went to the gym. I come home. I hop in the shower, thinking everything's normal, and out of nowhere, my neck just starts cranking up like this, and I can't stop it. I don't know what's going on. And then it starts I'm literally doing a spin in the shower, and the only thing I can think of is to call out for help. And when I got to my room, my roommates weren't home. I always would lock my door just for privacy. For some reason, I didn't lock my door. And literally right as I'm calling out for help, my roommates had just opened the door to the apartment.
Wow.
If that weren't the case, I would have likely fallen in the shower, probably cracked my skull, and I could have died because it was a 5-minute long seizure. And at that point, you can go brain dead. So they pull me out of the shower. They get me on the ground as my neck's still cranking, and then I go out. Bit off a massive chunk of my tongue. And that was 2 days before Thanksgiving. So that was a lot. I ate a lot of gravy and mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving that year. So
what'd you think of it? Did you go to the hospital? What happened?
Yeah, so I went to the hospital, and in that moment, I think that's the defining moment that changed my life, because in that moment, I felt like I was dying. I had never felt more powerless in my life. There was nothing I could do to stop myself from dying, and in that moment, I literally had nothing. And I think in those moments where you have no control over your life is where you realize there has to be something outside of yourself. And for me, it was like, I cannot do this on my own. And so for me, that was where I had to start giving up control. And it's like, what am I giving that power to? And that's where I really started to discover God. And of course, we'll get into that in a little bit. But so yeah, I have that seizure. Doctors put me on like a little more medication. They don't really know what to expect. Then I have another one a couple days later.
Oh my
They keep me
gosh.
in the hospital for a week, which was absolute hell.
Yeah.
Put me on a buttload more medication. They released me. They're like, all right, we just got to increase the medication. You just likely have epilepsy. Really have no idea what's going on.
You're just throwing something on a wall and seeing what
So
sticks.
over a period of like 8 months, I tried like 6 different medications. The first one I tried when I got released from the hospital, within 30 minutes, I was on my bed crying, ready to kill myself. Well, like 30 minutes, my first dose of taking a medication, I was ready to kill myself. Like it's that insane what medication can do to you. And that's why I have the utmost respect for people who are going through like mental health disorders. Like I think a lot of people just think, oh, they got to tough it out, or oh, they're weak. Like no, when you have a chemical imbalance, man, it is crazy. Like my entire world was distorted, and for months trying different medications, it was brutal. I had medications that just destroyed my skin. I had medications that were just giving me like the worst diarrhea out of nowhere. Medications that I would like just be insanely depressed out of nowhere. The highs and lows of it were crazy. And yeah, they were just throwing darts at a board, seeing what would stick. And meanwhile, this entire time, I just had to move home from college. I can't drive, can't do nothing. I got just a lot of time to just sit there and think while I feel like I'm going crazy. And it was just so uncertain. And
this is 5 seizures at this point, or 4.
I had, I had 2 when I was 6, 2 when I was in 9th grade, and then 2 at this point. So it was like always series of 2s. And then for a couple years there, I would just have like, so the law for driving is you have to wait 6 months after a seizure. I would get to that 6 months, I'd experience that freedom, and then I'd have another seizure. That happened 3 times. So I had one, I had 3 seizures out of the blue, and it would just like restart my progress, which was extremely difficult. It's like I just get that taste of freedom and then back to square one, back to a new medication, back to seeing what would work. I was just a human science experiment. So yeah, and then I had last year, 2024, in February, I had 2 seizures back to back, and they take me to the neurologist. They're like, all right, you have medication-resistant epilepsy. So epilepsy is already like 1 in 25 people. Medication-resistant epilepsy is even more rare, and that's after you've tried 3 different medications and they haven't worked. So like, all right, what we're going to do is it's called an SEEG, where basically they strap you to a hospital bed. They take you off your medication, and they sleep deprive you, and they just wait. They just wait for you to have a seizure.
Oh my God, dude! It's really torture.
Oh my
honestly,
gosh,
yeah.
the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Just sitting there at 3 a.m. in a terrible hospital bed, just waiting to have a seizure.
Dude, that's so messed up.
And like the feeling of, or the fear that comes with knowing I could have a seizure still sits with me every day. I have that fear that's there with me, and it's like at least I have that hope of like, no, I'll probably be okay. There I had to accept the fact that my worst nightmare was going to come true.
And you had that surgery, sorry to interrupt, that surgery scheduled for months in advance. So it's like the weeks leading to it, you're like knowing like, oh God, I'm going to have a scheduled thing where I go into my worst fear, worst experience ever.
It was terrifying. Yeah, it was like I'm just putting myself in the arena, and I gotta fight.
And hopes that they find something to where they can pinpoint it. Like in hopes. This isn't even like a guaranteed thing.
So I have that first induced seizure. Absolute hell, in the hospital for 4 days, strapped to a bed, just waiting to have a seizure. Have it in front of my entire family there. So they have to watch that. And then they say, okay, we got the data. You're good. They send me home. And then about 3 weeks later, when I'm supposed to be getting a call from the neurosurgeon to schedule my appointment for surgery to remove that piece of my brain that was causing the seizures, they tell me, we didn't get the data we needed. You got to do it again.
That's insane. Why?
They told me they had gotten the data, and then out of nowhere, they're like, wait, never mind. The neurosurgeon was like, I don't feel comfortable operating on you, so we got to do it again. So
Oh my gosh.
I switched hospitals after that, obviously, and I went to a children's hospital. I tell you what, I wish I could go to a children's hospital for the rest of my life. Like, way better food, way better care. Like they actually They're just miserable. Like at the other hospital, they were just treating me like everybody in that unit was like just old people. And I got a taste of like what they're treated with no respect. You're just like another body. Like they showed no sympathy to me when I'm like absolutely terrified. Like, yep, you're about to have a seizure. Like, okay, how am I supposed to just like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll have another seizure. Like, no remorse whatsoever. But I think that like having doctors that like truly care and have like genuine sympathy for you and are willing to work with you through your emotions is just so important. So yeah, I have that second induced seizure. That one actually happened in my sleep.
And you're waiting like days for this to happen. You're just sleep
the induced seizures, for like 4 or 5 days.
You can't go to the bathroom, right?
So at the first hospital, they made me use a commode with a nurse there. So the nurse would have to pull me, like I'm literally strapped to the bed. They'd have to unhook me to that and hook me to something else.
Like a rock climbing.
I'd have to, literally like I had the lapel in there. Yeah, a harness and all that. And I had to sit on this like portable toilet with a nurse standing next to me. I'm like, I can't go. But in this other one, they gave me a little bit, like I could walk around my hospital room. So it was a little bit more freedom. It wasn't nearly as bad the second time, but it was like, I've already done this. I can do it again. But it was absolute hell. But I had one in my sleep, and then this time they put the electrodes inside my brain instead of my scalp, and they just started pressing buttons to stimulate each electrode, and like I'd have ones that would just like jolt me out of nowhere, and then they'd like stop stimulating it, and I'd be back to normal. Like I'm literally feeling like a human science experiment at that point. Wow. Like he's just like pressing different buttons on his computer, and it's like it's just like jolting me out of nowhere. Like again, insanely powerless in that moment.
Wow, dude.
So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so did they get the data from that? Like,
yes, they finally got the data there. And with the second seizure or the second induced seizure procedure. So, I go in. They operate on me on October 1st of last year. This is a success. They removed the piece of my brain. They didn't remove anything that would like really affect me long term.
I mean, how scary is going into brain surgery, bro? You're kind of like skipping it. Like that's
it was
insane.
Terrifying. Like knowing I was going under and they're about to remove a piece of my brain was definitely terrifying. But I'd much rather have anesthesia and be out for that than I've gone out for a lot worse things than anesthesia. So it's like I'd rather be under the supervision of a doctor than me actually having a seizure. So it's like if I can get through a seizure, I can get through surgery. So that was kind of light work for me, honestly.
Wow.
So they tell me everything's good. There's over an 80% chance that I will be good and I may not even need medication in the future. They're like, yeah, you should be fine. But what they failed to mention was over 20% of people have seizures in the first couple days after. Like they didn't tell me that. That would have been a nice detail to know. And so they released me. Me and my fiance are on the way back from Tampa to Jacksonville. And out of nowhere, my neck just starts cranking. Oh, no. On the highway, or not on the highway, we're on like a back road. And out of nowhere, my neck starts cranking. And in that moment, that was the scariest moment of my life. Because it's like, okay, I'm good. I'm on from this now. Nope, just kidding. You're right back at square one. And up to this point, I had never had, there's like an emergency nose spray you can give to people having a seizure. I believe it's called Ativan or something like that. I never had that before. But my fiance, she had it on her. She gives it to me. Weirdest, like I was coming in and out of consciousness. Like I was there, but I wasn't. Like I had full awareness, but I had no control of my body. And I cannot describe. It was the weirdest seizure the scariest seizure I've ever had. Like I'm fully processing, oh my goodness, I'm having a seizure. What's going on? Like, am I going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life? And I have zero control. The only thing I could let out after a couple minutes was just like moaning and like crying. It was like, that was the only thing I could do.
Dude, a couple minutes is so long.
It's like 5 minutes long, yeah. Five minutes of in and out, like powerless, like unable to move my body in any way, but I'm like somehow still like fully there.
I couldn't imagine 10 seconds of that.
It's the scariest experience I've ever had.
And you're probably like mildly like, oh my God, I just had surgery, 6 other seizures, like to get to this point, and how am I not even clear? Like how am I?
I was thinking that, like, I'm shocked at the amount of mental clarity I had through all, like I'm thinking through all of that in that moment somehow, like just drifting in and out of consciousness. And normally when you have a seizure, you're not quite right for a little while, but I was like I was fully aware, thinking all those things, but I could not move my body at all. It was like I was there, but my body wasn't. So they take me to the hospital, like a local urgent care. And keep in mind, up to this point, I had never had never had 2 seizures in less than 3 days. Like it would usually be 1 seizure, a couple days, I'd have another. And 2 hours later, I have another seizure.
Wow.
So like I'm thinking, okay, I'm good for right now. They'll take me back to the hospital in Tampa. We'll get some data. Nope, 2 hours later. And keep in mind, I'm in a hospital. They've got an IV in so they can give me medication when I have the seizure to like stabilize me.
So you went to a different hospital? Or
so this is just the hospital in the middle of nowhere that I had just had the seizure. So it's like nowhere near the hospital that I had brain surgery at.
Oh, no.
So I've got the IV in my arm hooked up so they can give me medication if I have a seizure. The nurses come in and they freeze up. They have no idea what to do. Like our dad was crashing out. Like he was screaming at all of them. They're just sitting there. And I went out fully for this one, but my fiance Abby, who's seen all the seizures that I've had in the last 2 years, she said that was by far the worst. It's like the noises I was making. She said it seemed like I was like dying, and the nurses are just standing there doing nothing.
Oh my god!
So that one like really fried me, but I wasn't aware for it. Like for me, that was the easiest one because I did the neck crank for 20 seconds. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just let this ride out, and then I was out. But that one really fried me. They released me the next morning. They're like, yep, just go home. And so we just go back home. I'm just trying to chill. Obviously, I'm just an anxious wreck. I'm like, imagine. I could have another one. And I do. And I remember I could like feel it coming on, like the neck crank, and I just like jump up in the air and like just come back down. I land on my nose. Blood starts rushing out. And then both my fiance and then our dad gives me the emergency nose spray in each nostril. So it like jolts me back up. Then I go back out. Then I come back in, like over and over and over for a couple minutes. And then they take me to a hospital down. So I've just had 3 seizures in 24 hours. They take me to a hospital downtown. My world is upside down. I was supposed to be seizure free. I was supposed to be able to move on with my life. And here I am sitting in a hospital bed wondering what the hell is going on. I scream out to God wondering, why would you allow this to happen? Yeah. I remember like dad just like holding me as I'm just crying. Cause like my life had just been, everything I thought what was going to go on, everything that I had planned was destroyed. And they take me in a 4-hour ambulance ride down to the Tampa Bay area, to that other hospital. They put me on a bunch of medication, and yeah, in that moment, I'm just a wreck. My entire life has been shattered. I have what I like to call, and David Goggins calls, the poopy pants mentality. I don't want to hear from anybody. I just want to feel sorry for myself. Woe is me. My life is ruined. And then in rolls into the MRI room a 7-year-old kid named Brentley, and Brentley kept asking, like, oh, how are you? He's like trying to talk with me. And I'm like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I don't want to talk to this 7-year-old. I just had 3 seizures in 24 hours. Like, I'm going to just feel sorry for me. And he wasn't having it. And eventually I crack and I start talking with him. And then I realize this kid is like paralyzed from the waist down. And he's over here cracking a smile and laughing and joking around and has the heart to talk to me. And here I am feeling sorry for myself. Like, who am I to do that? Who am I to feel sorry for myself when there's people in way worse conditions who are experiencing joy? And so after that MRI, I go back up and I find out that Brentley's in the room right next to me. And during that week that I'm at the hospital on a whole bunch of medication, I'm just hanging out with him the whole time. Get to know him. I get to know his grandma. And
what a blessing to have that.
Man, it was like, that moment changed my life because it taught me that it's not about your circumstances. It's the fact that you can have joy in any circumstance. And it's the peace that you can have like through gratitude. It's not about focusing on what you don't have. It's focusing on what you do.
Wow.
And like, I know that there's, even in that situation, there's people that would kill to be as lucky as I was. Like being in a children's hospital will humble you real quick and make you realize how good you actually have it. Even in that moment, I was doing a lot better than most people in that hospital.
Wow.
It's like, it changed my perspective. And in that moment, I snapped out of it and I realized I can't continue to feel sorry for myself. Who am I to do that? I'm wasting what God has given me. And that's why, honestly, it's hard for me to be around people who feel sorry for themselves or like, just like, woe is me. It's like, you don't know what hard life is. You don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So it's given me a gratitude and it's given me a peace through all things that I can't explain. So that transformed everything.
So your faith obviously was extremely tested. Your faith in God was extremely tested through all this. When did you grow the closest, and like when did that bond start? Because before the seizures, maybe even like let's say before college, your bond, your relationship with God was not what it is today. Like when did it strengthen, and like walk me through that?
All right, I'll give you my full testimony then. So grow up Christian home, very blessed to be in that. I learn all these Bible stories, I learn all these things, but for me, it was more of like, oh, just do these good things and God will love you. Like it's if you do all the right things, you're going to be good with God, then you get to go to heaven. That's what it's just a bunch of rules. And I thought it was just about being like a good moral person, and that's what a good Christian is. And then I slowly start distancing away from the faith. I want to do what I want to do. Like I'm the boss of my own life, and I love Jesus. I believe in him. Like, but it wasn't like my actions did not back that up. And I just lived for myself for years. I got into drugs. I got into partying. I was sleeping around, doing all the things that I wanted to do to fill my heart and give myself that instant gratification. That
void.
Yeah, I was trying to fill that void with something else. And then I'm in college doing all this dumb stuff, and it's not working. Like it's not filling that void. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, is there something to this Christianity thing? Because I saw all the evil in the world. I was a part of it, and I was seeing it firsthand. And I was like, if there's evil in the world that we can't explain, there's got to be good too. So I start looking into Christianity. I look into all the facts around it. I thought it was like, yeah, maybe Jesus is real, maybe he's not. And I've got to look into the logic. And I'm like, wait a minute. Even atheists agree that he lived and was crucified. Like that's indisputable at that point. And over 500 people saw him after he resurrected. And that's not just like a random number. It was like listed as that and told to people, go check with these people. They saw him resurrect. And then the biggest thing for me that made me really start thinking, I'm like, it was all 12 disciples that saw Jesus. They walked with him through his entire ministry. And then they saw him crucified, which shocked them, like completely just flipped them upside down. And then they saw him resurrect. Every single one of those guys went out and died a horrific death, crucified upside down, beheaded, cut in half. Every single one of them is documented as dying a horrible death. It'd be one thing if 1 or 2 people did that, but 12, all of them died horrific deaths for the things they claimed to see. And they were all told, if you shut up about this, we'll spare your life. But even some of them were preaching while on the cross, which is like the word excruciating comes from the word for crucifixion. Like that is like the most painful death you can die. And they're on the cross talking about that.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute, there might actually be some truth here. Maybe this Jesus guy is real. And it made me start really considering it, starting to look into it. But of course, faith in Christ isn't just like a logical decision. You can have all the evidence in the world, all the facts, but at the end of the day, it is an emotional decision. And I had to change my perspective because for my entire childhood, I believed this is rules. This is, I do. I do all these things, then I can go to heaven and be with Jesus. But instead, I thought it was do. Jesus said, done. Because when he took the penalty for my sins on the cross and died for me, it was finished. He paid that penalty. And because of that, by believing in him and giving my life to him, all of that is washed clean. And it's a relationship. So whenever somebody looks at Christianity like just a set of rules, I immediately have to correct them. There's so many misconceptions around it. Obviously, we should do good things because we have the relationship with Christ, but it's a relationship first. And I gave my life again to Christ about a week before that first seizure that I had in my freshman year of college. So I gave my life to Christ. And I wrote down in my journal, I'm like, Lord, I am deeply broken. I've made so many mistakes and my heart is in all the wrong places. Put me through the things you need to put me through to make me into the man you want me to be. I wrote exactly that a week before the seizures. And he fulfilled my requests. He gave me those seizures, and it was because of that. I moved home away from all the dumb choices I was making. I was forced to not be able to drive, sit at home and think And even though my mind was a wreck because of all the medications, I learned a lot of stuff. I dove into the Bible. I dove into my heart and what I was really desiring, and it changed me. It transformed me. It's because of that that I grew to know Christ and stopped desiring these things, even though I still struggled a lot. It took me a long time. But so I move home away from all these things. I'm having to change my life. And then 3 months into being home, I meet my future wife. And it was like we met at a crossroads that I couldn't explain any way else. We both had just come from extremely traumatic situations. And we were nowhere near where we needed to be, but we were both healing and growing at the same time. And we just connect in a way that I can't describe. It was by like the second date that I knew I'm like, I could see myself with this girl for the rest of my life. And me and Abby, we've been through a lot. We've been through hell, but through all of it. And I think this is what I think makes a good relationship a good relationship. It's not how you feel about this person in a certain moment or what you can do for them or what they can do for you. It's, do you grow together? And Abby and I have grown together in a way I can't describe, and in a way that I can only describe as the more we pursued God, the more we pursued each other, the better our relationship has gotten and the better people we've become. And it's because of her support that I am where I am. She's motivated me to grow closer to Christ. She was there through all my toughest seizures, keeping me stable and giving me faith. I think some people think that I just always had this faith through my seizure journey. Absolutely not. But Abby did. It was her reassurance that God's gotten you through all the stuff he's gotten you through before. Do you think he's just abandoning you now? So through my epilepsy journey in last year, that was where my faith was really tested the most. I'd come back to Christ, but I wasn't all the way in. I was
after the surgery, or
no, before. So I wasn't all the way in. Like I believed in Jesus, but I wasn't acting like it in every area of my life. And those seizures really tested my faith, because it's like in those moments where you are powerless, you have to rely on something greater than yourself. And it was in those moments that I'm like, I got to put my faith all the way in. And that's when I did that. And it was very tough. There was moments where I was extremely tested, but God kept asking me, do you trust me? And I kept saying yes. And he delivered me through it time and time again. I think the biggest moment going back to, so I just had those 3 seizures in 24 hours. I'm sitting in the hospital bed, screaming, crying, angry at God. Like, why would you allow this to happen? And I just keep thinking about Psalm 22 and Psalm 23. Psalm 22, written by King David. And he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And he just goes on lamenting about feeling like abandoned by God. But at the end, he says, you are still holy. You are still with me. Not funny enough, but Jesus repeats that exact psalm while on the cross. The exact same one. And then Psalm 23, also written by David, he says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me beside still waters. And then he says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. And those 2 psalms, as I'm in the ambulance riding to the hospital for 4 hours, I just keep reading Psalm 22 and Psalm 23 over and over. I read each of them at least 50 times, and I just was reading them out loud to myself. And in that moment, a peace came over me that I can't describe. It was like, I cannot control my external circumstances, but I do have an internal peace through all of them. And I think a big misunderstanding people have about Christianity is like, oh, once you turn to Jesus, your life is going to get better in every way. No, it's going to get harder. Jesus says you are going to suffer for my name. But you will have this external suffering, but you have an internal peace. And for me personally, I would much rather have internal peace than all the abundance of these external things that don't fill that void. So it's no matter what I go through, I have this peace about me that I can't describe. And it's all due to Christ. And it's because of that I've given my life fully to him. And it's why now I don't shut up about it. Like people can call me like a Jesus freak or whatever. I'm like, if you had gone through what I had gone through, you would understand. If you had seen the things I had seen, you would understand. And I believe that if I weren't to share Jesus the way I do, I would be selfish. I've experienced a good that I can't describe. I would be selfish to not talk about it. So I think people just, as the Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good. So I think that's why I just can't shut up about it.
What's your mission with that? Like, what's your mission with trying to show what you've been through and how he's supported you through this?
My mission is to help people discover Christ and help Christians discover the power of good health. And I think first and foremost is to help people discover Christ. I think it starts with understanding a lot of the misconceptions around Christianity. It's understanding that there is truth to this. You're not just believing in some bearded dude up in the sky that doesn't go align with science. It's understanding that all of those things is 100% true. And then it's more importantly having the relationship with him, not just a set of rules. So it's really helping people discover that, because I believe that is the only thing in this dark time in our world with surrounded in evil. That is the only solution. I think the more time passes, the more people are seeing there is so much evil in the world that we can't explain, but there is a solution to it. There is an answer to it, and it's God.
Let's talk about, this is a big one for you and for, I think for a lot of people that don't realize this. I didn't really until you kind of brought this perspective up, but Christians and good health and
Yes.
what you see the opposite of and what you see what they should have.
So the biggest thing that I don't think Christians understand is that I think people in general don't understand that your health isn't physical, mental, spiritual, separate. Most people have compartmentalized their health. And when you do that, whether you're a Christian or not, you're going to be miserable. But when you integrate all of them together, there is a peace, a freedom, a joy that you cannot explain. And I think people don't understand the power of physical health for other areas of your life. If you're not taking care of your physical body, you won't have the energy to exude the love that you have been given by Christ. And that's a huge one. I think obviously most important is spiritual health. Like, where are you finding your peace? What are you filling that God-sized hole in your heart with? And then it's how are you improving? How are you maximizing that health spiritually? And that comes from physical health. I believe that if you're not taking care of yourself physically, that's a reflection of a much deeper issue. I think everything starts at a spiritual level. I believe everything starts at a spiritual level. And if you're not taking care of yourself physically, that is just a reflection of, I don't love this body that I've been given by God. That's a much deeper issue than, I don't have the motivation to work out. I don't have the motivation to get healthy. No, you don't have a respect and an appreciation for the body you've been given, and you don't know how good you could feel. I think that's a much bigger issue than people realize. And having that health is a freedom that you can't get from anything else.
I love that you educate people around this, because I don't think people connect the dots enough with, like, okay, well, I can have good spiritual health, but I don't, maybe I'm too lazy to work out, or I don't know how, or like, I don't know how to eat. We aren't taught this in school, of course, but like,
Of course not.
I love that you connect the dots for all three of these things, which is super cool. And like, one of the posts that like really stuck out to me was like, if you're an overweight pastor, you have almost no right like preaching. Mm-hmm. Like, talk about that. I want to hear about it.
Your body is a reflection of your internal convictions. If your body is not up to par, it says something about you much deeper. And if you're not taking care of your body, it, like I said, it represents you don't care for yourself. It reflects, if you don't have self-discipline, if you don't have the discipline to take care of yourself, you don't have the right to try and take care of somebody else. I think that's a much deeper issue, and I think it speaks to pastors. I think it speaks to dads. So many people that are put in leadership positions. If you don't have leadership over your own body, how in the world could you say you could lead somebody else? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to discipline. There is a freedom that comes with discipline. It takes effort. It takes a lot of work. It takes building up some knowledge.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that discipline in that area, you're unlikely to be as disciplined as you should be in other areas.
That makes sense. It really does. Like, you have no right to be, if you're disciplined in one area, but it doesn't bleed into the others, it's like you're kind of.
Yeah, again, it's like your health isn't physical, mental, spiritual. It's all aligned together. So if you're sort of disciplined in one area, but you're not disciplined in another area, that's going to bleed into everything. So if you're super disciplined in one area, the other areas are likely to be the same way. So we can't just compartmentalize things and expect things to work. I mean, sure, you could live a good life, maybe, being out of shape, but not nearly as good of a life as you could. And it's selfish because you are not going to be able to maximize your potential to serve other people. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing we can do on this earth is love God and serve other people. And if you're not taking care of your physical health, you won't have the energy, you won't have the joy, you will be minimizing your time here on this earth that you could be serving other people. So when someone says, "Oh, I don't have the time to work out," you are wasting time. You're minimizing your time here on this earth by not making time for what really matters.
You can look at your screen time, and I can be like, "Oh, you got time to work out, bud.
You got time to watch Love Island, but you don't got time to go hit the gym." Come on now.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love that for young men especially. I mean, you really show them the way through your content, which is really cool. Just like here, you give like such easy tips, which I really love. Mm-hmm. It's super cool.
I think people try to overcomplicate it. Health isn't as complicated as people think. Now, obviously, it's about building routine. And I think a lot of people on social media make this insane routine that maybe 10% of people can actually follow. Yeah. But 90% of people see that and like, I'm not even going to try.
Right.
So it's starting with something that's sustainable. The best routine isn't the perfect one. It's the routine you can follow. So if that's getting 7 hours of sleep instead of the perfect optimal 8, if that's having a fast food meal or cheat meal here and there, but mostly eating real whole foods, go for it. Now, obviously, you want to improve over time because you're either growing or dying, but you got to start somewhere that works. I think most people, I think most people are perfectionists in this. Like, I'm not going to try unless I'm going to be really good at this. And I think most people see these unrealistic routines and like, I'm not even going to bother. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, Instagram is full of that, unfortunately. It's easier to get clicks and all this if you do some crazy stuff or a crazy visual. And it's like, honestly, you just need to be kind of balanced at the end of the day and start small, grow big.
100%.
And get there, for sure.
It's a journey, and you're never going to be perfect with it.
I love that. If somebody wanted to start with Christianity, how do they get started with it? Take me into the 0 degree entry into the pool. How can you get there?
With Christianity? So, I was taught this.
For like young men.
Yeah, for young men. So I was taught this when I was in first or second grade. It's as easy as ABC. So first it's admit that you're a sinner. We all fall short of the glory of God. Sin is anything that falls outside of God's will. And because of that, we are separated from God. But when we believe in Jesus, the Son of God, who came down to earth and lived a perfect life, but died a death for us and paid the penalty we could not pay, he took the penalty for our sin on that cross, and then he rose again 3 days later. We believe in that. Because of that, we are washed clean of our sin. We are forgiven. We are no longer looked at in the eyes of God as, oh, we're these sinners separate from him. We are looked at as beloved children of him. And then we commit our lives to him. I think some people think belief, the English word for belief is just like, yeah, I believe that happened. But what it really means at a deeper level is you believe wholeheartedly and you commit your life in that way. It's one thing to say, and I think most people would say, yeah, I believe in Jesus. Your life doesn't look like that. You're not taking care of your body. You're still doing a lot of things you know you shouldn't. Of course, we're not going to be perfect, but belief isn't just saying, it's action. So it's admit, believe, and then commit, which the C is the hardest. We're not going to be perfect with it, but we have to commit our lives to Jesus. So to someone who's unsure about Christianity or unsure where to start, you're not going to be perfect, but good news is it's not on your own strength. If you told me a couple years ago I would be at this position with my life, with where my heart is at, under my own strength, I could not get there. It is entirely to God. It's not like you're just trying to change your habits. I mean, of course, it's going to take some willpower to do some things that honor God, but the more you love him, the more your heart changes. You can't expect your heart to change, your desires to change if you're just trying to do it to please God. God is already pleased in you. And when you pursue his heart, you are going to want to do the things he wants you to do. And it's not easy, but there is always peace and freedom that comes with doing it his way. I've suffered immensely doing the things that God has called me to do, but every single time it has worked out, and I would not want to change it. God is right 100% of the time. So it's pursuing God, and he changes your heart.
I love that. Let's still a similar topic, but let's change the road a little bit. We listened to somebody yesterday that was on a podcast with Santa Cruz Medicinals, our good buddy Brendan, and he's 19 years old, and he takes testosterone, and he's had a jaw surgery, and he advocates for not only young men taking testosterone, having a leg lengthening surgery to increase height, and other extremely low vibe things, I guess you could say. What do you think about that? What do you think about the Looksmaxxing community? What would that do to a young man?
I think Looksmaxxing is one of the most destructive and toxic behaviors that has come about in recent years for young men, because once again, it is filling a God-sized hole in your heart that cannot be filled by that. You think just improving how you look is going to make you feel better about yourself? I got news for you, buddy. It's never going to be enough. I mean, just look at that guy.
We've both been there too.
Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah, I speak from experience.
Yeah.
In high school, I took steroids. I've never said this publicly, but in high school, I took steroids, and it was because I just felt so empty. I thought building my body would finally fix that void in my heart. I thought being at 8% body fat, being able to bench 315, then I would be enough. Then I would be good enough. But I got there, and I only felt worse about myself. I'm like, I'll get to the top of the mountain, and I'm like, this is it? When you try to fill a God-sized hole in your heart with a human-sized thing, it will never, ever, ever be enough. And I want to stress to every young man, woman, whatever age you are, I have to stress to you, it will never be enough. You cannot fill this hole in your heart with something that isn't God. We all have this desire for purpose, for fulfillment, for peace. It doesn't come from other people. It doesn't even come from within. It comes from God, because at the end of the day, like I for a long time, I was trying to get validation from other people. I thought, okay, if other people like me, then I'm a good enough person.
Same.
And then I go to, okay, if I love me, that's enough. But deep down, I know more than anybody how terrible of a person I am. I've not been able to keep promises to other people, but far more than I've not been able to keep. No, I've barely been able to keep any of my promises to myself. I know deep down how bad of a person I am more than anybody else. So other people aren't going to satisfy me. I'm never going to be able to satisfy me because I'm my worst critic. But Paul says something in Galatians that transformed my thoughts around this. He says, I don't care about your opinion of me. I don't care about my opinion of me. I've never heard that anywhere. And what he's basically talking about is the freedom of self-forgetfulness. He takes himself out of the courtroom for his judgment of himself. And he instead says, Christ has taken that penalty for me, and he loves me so much that he died for me. He looks at me as a beloved child. There's nothing I could do to ever make myself feel that good. Like, I could maybe get there for a little bit. I could maybe make some accomplishment, but then I'm going to screw it up and I'm going to be back to square one, beating myself up. But when I look at myself from the opinion of Christ, it's far greater than anything else. And I no longer have to spend time worrying about what other people think or trying to prove to myself that I'm good enough, because I never will be good enough on my own. And to all these people that are doing Looksmaxxing or anything else, it won't be enough. Steroids put me in my worst mental state that I had ever been in, because I thought I'd finally get something that would satisfy me, and I got it. I think what's even worse than trying to get something and failing is succeeding at getting something you want and realizing it's not enough to satisfy you. That is devastating, and I think everybody in their life has experienced that, but the problem is most people keep going back to that, thinking, okay, now once I get this new thing, then it'll be enough, but it never is.
Yeah, I mean, scientifically speaking, we produce testosterone naturally, and to induce that, you start producing less of it naturally. And it's like, okay, well, you start that at 19, brother, you're going to be on that for the rest of your life. And you're also going to look older at a younger age. It's like, dude, nothing good comes out of this. I mean, it's like did a TikTok post this morning about like health maxing over life maxing,
Yes.
or looks maxing. And you can do all these things naturally, eat good, sleep well, good relationships, God, work out, and feel way better about yourself, have more charisma, more securities than you taking testosterone or getting 2 inches added onto your legs or whatever it is. And it's like, your insecurities are still going to be there at the end of the day. Like, I can speak for myself, but same in high school. I was small as hell in high school. I didn't hit my growth spurt till way late, till in the Marine Corps. And I, worked out and started to get a little bit of validation from women. So I worked out more and more to get more validation. But at the end of the day, I was still insecure because of some childhood trauma that I had yet to process. And it's like, you can put all these external things on you, and it's still, those insecurities are still deeply rooted in there.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. People will call me a hypocrite for calling people idiots for taking steroids at a young age because I did that. And I'm like, you're right. But I get it more because I've experienced it. And it's not,
Totally.
I obviously will call them stupid, but more importantly, I feel sorrow for them because I've been there. I know the feeling of, oh, my body just isn't good enough. Maybe then, once I have that body fat percentage, then girls will like me. Then I'll feel good about myself.
And that bar just keeps getting...
The bar keeps growing. It's never enough. So to the guys who are considering taking steroids or doing something to make them externally look better to other people, to try and prove themselves to other people, it won't be enough. I could say firsthand that it destroyed my life for a short period of time. Like, I mean, taking testosterone at 18, 19, there's not much that's worse for you. I did that. All it really did, I took it for a very short period. All it did was really bloat me up. And when I got off of it, I actually felt better. I'm like shocked my hormones rebounded that quickly, but it's never enough. It will never satisfy you. Doing something for purely vanity, it is one of the dumbest things you can do, most destructive things you can do. So I feel sympathy for those people.
I bet. I mean, you have a right to hate on them or just discredit them because you did it yourself. So it's not like you have no right to speak about it. It's like you freaking did it. You've been there.
Yeah, I was just as, I'm going to call them dumb, but I was just as dumb.
Yeah,
So.
and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
What does your workouts look like now? Is it like? Is it a bro split? How many days a week? What does that take me through it?
So I've experimented with several different training splits, and I believe everybody out there is looking for like the perfect split. The answer isn't, you got to do upper body, you got to do full body. No, there's no perfect split out there. The best routine is the one you can do. And for me, I believe in having the highest ROI with the least amount of unnecessary effort put in. And that is why I either do full body 2 to 3 times a week or upper lower. That would be about 4 workouts a week. And my workouts are quick. They're under an hour. I do 2 to 3 heavy sets per exercise in the 6 to 8 rep range typically. And every week I'm getting stronger. I'm packing on muscle. It's PR, PR, PR. It works better than anything I've ever tried. And for my clients, it works incredible too. Like I've got guys who are hitting legitimately 10 PRs every workout because they're doing all of the necessary things and cutting out all the extra. I think most people, they replace quality with quantity. They think doing more exercises or more sets or getting a better pump will get them the results. But the truth is they've got to do the work they don't want to do. They got to embrace the hard and do the really heavy sets and push themselves way beyond their comfort zone. And that's it. I think 1 or 2 sets, and the data supports this, 1 to 2 sets really close or 2 failure with a heavy weight in the 4 to 8 rep range, that is going to do more for you than 4 sets with the same weight where you're just going through the motions. It's far more important that you are pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone every single workout with new weights, obviously with good form. Like you don't want to ego lift, but pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone every single session and doing just that. That will get you results more than anything. So I would recommend to most people full body or push-pull legs, but it's just what works for you.
Okay, I love that, dude. It's such like a conservative view, which is great, man, because I have seen your workouts and stuff progress over the years, and you used to do some crazy stuff, and I'm like, dude, that's a lot, but
yeah.
Hey, we all got to live through it. And
I used to spend like 2 hours in the gym chasing the pump, chasing maybe a PR here and there, but it just wouldn't work. I'd feel so burnt out. I wouldn't get the results that I wanted. And that's eventually what led me to get on steroids because I just thought, oh man, I just can't do it on my own. And not only was I deeply insecure and broken, but I also just had the wrong plan. So I think most people, they overrate motivation and they underrate consistency and the proper plan. So you can have all the motivation in the world, but if you don't have the right plan, it's not going to last you. So I think doing the minimal effective dose is the best way to get results in the gym. So if that's 2 workouts a week, but you're pushing hard for 45 minutes, that's going to get you tremendous results.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I mean, if somebody hasn't worked out before, it's been years. I mean, 1 workout a week is, going to be amazing for them. I just think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it, so nutrition is a big one with, you got the plant-based diet, the carnivore, the animal-based. There's like so many words and vocabulary, whatever. What does yours look like, or what do you recommend to your clients?
I recommend, because as a Christian, I believe that God isn't just right about our spiritual health. I believe he's right about every single thing. I believe God commanded certain things. The early church practiced it, and science now proves it. One of the biggest things that God commanded and science now proves is diet. And most Christians are completely blowing this one. God gave very specific commands, and if we look throughout the Old and New Testament, we can see how they ate. And it's now clearly backed. So the first thing, God commands us to eat of the ground. So that's fruits and veggies that he blessed us with, but he also commanded us to eat meat. It was treated as a delicacy throughout the Bible because that's how good it was for you. He also commanded us to avoid certain things such as shellfish and pork. Now, obviously, in the New Testament, we're given permission to eat that, but Paul also says all things are lawful, but not all things are good. And if we look at the contamination levels in certain things such as pork and some shellfish, it's risky. I think pork it's an animal garbage collector. They're not really good for you. I'll eat them here and there, but the main things that I'm eating a well-balanced diet of a lot of things that are mentioned throughout the Bible. So that's meat, that's fruits and vegetables, that's sourdough bread, which was huge in the Bible. And then another controversial one is dairy. All of those things are constantly eaten throughout the Bible, and I believe that's the best diet for people. I don't think you should be cutting out an entire section, entire macro or entire category of food. I believe balancing your diet with all of these foods, eating the foods that God created, not man corrupted, is the easiest way to achieve freedom with your health. I think it's the biggest area that people are missing out on, even more importantly than your workouts, because you could be working out but then feeding yourself with poison, and you're going to just feel like garbage. You're going to feel flat. You're going to wonder why you're crashing midday. It's because you're not eating the way God commanded. So for me, and what I call the Dominion diet, I eat a ton of protein, primarily from animals. So this is ground beef. This could be some chicken, but it's primarily beef, and that's a big portion of my fat content as well. I'm eating a lot of fruits and veggies. Big fan of those. I think that's an area that I think people are hating on way too much. Obviously, you got to balance it, see what's good for your gut. But eating those a lot. Then I eat a moderate amount of starches. I'm eating a whole lot of sourdough, which is constantly mentioned throughout the Bible. And I think real high-quality sourdough is amazing for you. And then not neglecting fat as well, I think is amazing. And then one of the biggest ones that people miss out on and think it's just like a sugary food, or I think most people think honey is just some sugar that you can have here and there. But throughout the Bible, it's mentioned as this is very, very good. And I believe that it's one of the best things for your health. I think if we look at the data now, having honey is so incredible for your immune system. And there's a reason it's mentioned throughout the Bible as being very, very good. That's why I have a ton of honey every day. It's so good for you.
Yeah, it's so amazing for you. How underrated is sleep?
I don't think it is possible to overrate sleep. I think sleep is one of the most important things you can do, but more importantly, I think it's important to be aligned with a rhythm, getting aligned with the sun, where you're waking up early, you're having that peace in the morning, and then you're having that peace at night, and making sure you're getting enough time for rest. I believe that sleep is one of the most neglected things by Christians, because if you don't have enough sleep, you're not going to have energy. Your mood is going to be affected, and a big one, your willpower is going to be shot. Like I noticed for me, I am way more likely to fall into temptation when I haven't gotten enough sleep. And I think that's one of the biggest ways that the enemy is attacking people now, is because he knows when their sleep is shot, so are their hormones, so is their energy, so is the way they treat other people, so is their willpower. And that's why over the last 100 years, humans are getting, I believe, like 2 hours less on average than they were 100 years ago. Imagine if everybody got an extra 2 hours of sleep per night, how big of a difference that would make in their health. Huge. So when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling really anxious about something, or I'm not feeling great, I just feel off, the first thing I prioritize is getting more sleep. It's not, a lot of times it's going to the gym, but the first thing is sleep. So if you're feeling like crap, physically, mentally, or spiritually, I think the first place you start is getting more sleep. I think that's a massive game changer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. What is some swaps that young men, young women can make in their life to go from kind of toxic to non-toxic?
That's a great question. I think the first it's not easy swap, but it's a simple swap, is swapping processed food for real God-made foods. Now, this takes some time, but I believe the best way to do it is just go cold turkey. I think doing like 50-50 for a long period of time, you are just throwing different signals at your brain, because processed food is so addictive to your brain that when you're constantly getting those dopamine hits from things that are designed to give you dopamine hits, and then you're eating real whole foods, which is your brain going to crave more? It's the processed food. So I think you've got to cut it out for a couple weeks. It's going to be hard for a little bit. You're going to be craving that processed sugar. You're going to be wanting that dopamine hit. It's a dopamine hit. It's not dominion for your body. But after a couple weeks, your brain is going to rewire. You're going to feel a lot better, and you're going to crave real whole foods. Like for me, it is so easy to just eat whole foods. Like I don't even crave processed. Sure, I'll have a sweet treat here and there, but I don't even crave it anymore. So I think they've got to go cold turkey for a little bit, deal with it, eat real whole foods, and then slowly add it back in here and there. And I think one of the best ways to make that easy is to meal prep. I think one of the biggest reasons people eat processed food is because it's convenience. And if you eliminate that convenience and you meal prep ahead of time with foods that are actually good for you, you don't have to think, should I go to McDonald's or should I spend this 30 minutes cooking? Like, which are you going to choose in the moment when you're in a rush? You're going to go to McDonald's. Yeah. So eliminating convenience and I think this is a good way to make anything happen in your life. If you eliminate convenience and you make it as easy as possible, be disciplined, you're going to succeed. I think willpower is one of the most overrated things, because if you eliminate it entirely and if you make it easy to succeed, you set your room up in a way that's going to be optimal for you to go to sleep. You set your life up, you set your office up in a way that's going to help you get to work.
Well, let's talk about those. Yeah. What does your room look like in your office? Let's start with your room first. How did you optimize it, biohack it?
So I do nothing in my room except sleep. So my brain knows when I walk in my room, I bump my thermostat down to 68 degrees because your body is going to sleep a lot better at a cold temperature. My brain knows, okay, it is time to rest, it's time to relax, and it's time to reset for the next day. And then I've got I've got my blue light blockers, and then I've got my eye mask, and then I've got shades that block out any form of light. I keep all light out of my room. It is pitch black in my room. That's so important. So I keep my room cold, I keep it dark, and then I do nothing in my room except sleep.
Like a
cave.
Then,
yes, it is literally a cave. I also have a couple plants in there, like snake plants, just to keep the air quality good. I have a air purifier. And then as soon as my alarm goes off, I'm opening the blinds, getting light into my eyes, and it's not like I'm sort of asleep, sort of awake. Nope, it's go time. It's ready to get to it. I get out of my room because all I do there is sleep. And then it's off to start the day. I'm moving. I'm getting sunlight. I'm ready to crush. So I think the rhythm is so important for your sleep. When you make it a habit, I believe the first 30 minutes of your day and the last 30 minutes of your day dictate how the rest of your day is going to go. And if you set yourself up for success there, make it as easy as possible for yourself to succeed, it's such a game changer. It makes it easy. Like, you don't have to think extra. You don't have to stress out about trying to be perfect, because you've already made that part of your day.
You get those little wins in the morning. It's like, you're stacking those good habits, and then at night you're preparing yourself for the next day. You're already like putting your mind at ease for the next day. You're ready to go. Yeah, man, I'm with you on that big time. How have you changed your office, or what I like to call, like in here, my creation cove, to biohack your life? How have you made it easier or made your environment more sustainable to health?
I love that name. I need to change my office to Creation Cove. First off, I have a standing desk. I really like to try and keep moving. For me, it's so hard to sit in a chair for a little while because I've got so much energy. Then the next thing I do is I have rhythms with my work. A lot of times I'll set a timer on my phone for 45 or 130 minutes, something like that. I'm going to work for this amount of time. I'm not going to check my phone. Once I'm done with this deep work block, I'm going to go move for 10, 15 minutes, and non-negotiable. So I set rhythms for myself. That really helps me get into that flow state, get some deep work done, and then get out, go move, keep my body flowing, and then get back to it. So got a bunch of plants in my room as well. That just helps my mood, but it also purifies the air. What else do I have? A kettlebell in there, so I can get some quick swings in. I've got a medicine ball in there as well to sit on when I do want to sit. So it just keeps my body moving. I'm not just being sedentary all day, sitting at a desk and wondering why I feel like garbage. I'm moving when I can. I think a lot of people think it's just impossible to be healthy if you work like a at-home desk job. I think it's just making those quick little 5-minute breaks here and there.
Totally.
That'll make such a big difference for your mental health. Because if you're sitting in a dark room staring at blue light all day, you're going to feel like garbage.
Yeah, and for productivity.
100%.
You know, whether you do 5 or 10 squats or push-ups or a 10-minute walk outside or a, mobility posture thing, it's like, dude, you can improve your productivity and you don't have to work as long either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Dialing in your health is like huge for me as far as, dialing in my environment is huge for my health, just making it easier to be healthy.
Absolutely.
Like having the kettlebells next to my office or outside, it's like, well, when I see it, I'm probably going to do it instead of it just like being hard to get to or the gym is 20 minutes away or whatever. It's like I'm trying to make my life easier to do the things that make me better.
Eliminating that willpower, it makes a game changer. So just setting yourself up for success.
Yes, most definitely.
So,
do we have one of the most healthy families in the world?
I think we do have the most healthy family in the world. I mean,
we should be the reality TV show.
Yeah, we don't need Keeping Up with the Kardashians. We need Keeping Up with the Fagans.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. We need to get Dad out here. He's
dialed in, dude. My stepmom, Nate's mom, our dad is like, they've been fit. They've been doing the health grind for decades and decades, and it's so cool to see because it's just a good inspiration to look up to because most parents aren't that way or, it's trending the other way, thank goodness. But so thankful to have that in my life. Like, growing up, being with my dad, he's like feeding me all these good meals, and I didn't know whether it's good or bad. I have no education around it, and I'm just so thankful for that. It's like, as parents, you should have the duty to feed your kid, your exercise, whatever, your kid to the best of the ability so that they're better than you. And it's like, oftentimes now I see in America that they do the opposite. It's like, how do the parents make their life easier? Okay, iPad at dinner. Okay, let's go to McDonald's instead of taking 15 minutes to make rice and ground beef. It's like they're like setting their child up for failure versus success.
It breaks my heart. And I saw that for a couple of years. I was a kids fitness coach. I would see time and time again an unhealthy parent or a parent that's just glued to their phone. Their kid would come in usually overweight, overstimulated, unable to focus. They're 100% a reflection of their parents' habits, and it breaks my heart. And it's because of how I grew up with my parents just setting that example. I can't resonate as much with people who haven't had that, and that's something that I feel terrible for those people. I've been very blessed in that area, and I know how hard it is to break that cycle, but that's why it's so important. Man, if you haven't had that role model, that person that set the example for you with your health or in any other area of your life, it is not your fault. It is not your fault that you've been dealt such a crappy hand of cards in your life, but it is also your responsibility. And that's why I encourage so many people, be the one. If you don't have that one in your family, be the one who sets the example, who breaks the cycle and builds the health, the wealth, the faith, whatever it is. If you haven't had that, you could be that one. You can reset generations of curses that have set your family up for failure. So I think that's where men really need, if you're a young man, you need to step up because what you do now is going to affect your family for generations. So blessed that we have parents who set that example. Like our dad has been doing this since his early 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the last few years he's gotten like extra dialed in, but he set that example since his 20s. He's built something that he's able to do consistently, and he's not having to compromise when he's older or try to dig himself out of a hole.
For your clients, like, what compassion coaching do you give when they maybe fall off the wagon or, they miss a workout or eat bad? Like, what do you say to them when that happens?
James Clear has a quote: one misstep or one mistake is just a mistake, but messing up twice is the start of a new habit. So it's really important that we fall off the wagon once. Okay, we get back on. We don't spend time dwelling on it. We just say, okay, what went wrong? How do we prevent this in the future? But then we get right back to it. We get right back on the wagon. There's no beating them up or anything like that. It's just getting right back to where we need to be. Now, if they're messing up more than that, we got to look at the root causes. It's not just the what, it's the why. Why did you do that? And I'm going to go on another spiel here. Every human decision, every single action humans take is decided by pain and pleasure. They do every single thing, more than anything, to avoid pain and then also to embrace pleasure. But the problem is most people embrace short-term pleasure, which results in long-term pain. So we have to switch those around. We have to understand, yes, there is going to be a little bit of pain in the short term, but the pleasure related to it in the long term is transformational. And then we also have to get clear on how the decision to do something in the short term, how much pain that will that cause in the long term. We have to get crystal clear on that. Like, I've had my clients write down pages upon pages of what continuing to do a habit over time would do to them. And that causes them more pain in the short term than being willing to do the thing they need to do correctly. So that eliminates it. If you, like, the thought of continuing to do something makes you want to vomit, that will make you lock in and do the right thing. So, like, whether it's like pornography or whether it's overeating or scrolling too much, write down, why am I doing this? What will happen if I continue to do this? And when you're in that moment, you've got that urge, you look at that list of things that will happen if you continue to do it. You're not going to want to do it anymore.
That's a cool visual. That's a really cool journal exercise. Speaking of short-term pleasure, long-term pain, you mentioned to me, and this is something that I've struggled with, is lust. Speak to me about the two verses you were saying with with Solomon and those two verses.
Yes. So the wisest man in the Bible and the strongest man in the Bible both fell for lust. So what does that say for us? Last time I checked, I'm not the wisest. I'm not the richest. I'm definitely not the strongest. Yet somehow on my own, I'm supposed to have the strength to overcome this. This is not something you can defeat under your own strength. If Solomon couldn't do it, if Samson couldn't do it, if David couldn't do it, we're cooked on our own. And that's why it's so important to rely on God. And what God says about lust isn't to fight it. It's to flee from it. It's to get as far away from it as possible. So this is where avoiding the need for willpower is so important here. I am not putting myself in situations where I could fall. Like when I was younger, I struggled with pornography. One of my rules is I don't allow my phone in the bedroom because I know if I have my phone in there, that's a mental cue. Okay, it's time to do this. Absolutely not. My phone isn't even there. I am avoiding the situation. I don't go to the gym at certain times. I won't talk to certain people. I won't hang around people who are promoting a lifestyle that would potentially glorify something I don't want to be associated with. So lust is not something you fight. It is something you flee because every single time you try, no matter how strong or wise you are cooked.
So it's minimizing those distractions.
Yes, it's getting away from it, keeping yourself away from even being near it.
It's kind of like the home and work environment that we were just talking about, how we like set it up for success and setting that up for success as well.
Yeah.
What were the two verses that you told me the other, that David or Solomon wrote?
I'm trying to think.
About lust.
Let me see. Let me pull it up on my phone real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a specific verse that
There was two of them that you mentioned to me that were really good, and you know what? I wrote it down in my notes. And I mean, well, maybe not in verses, but that they fell for lust. Like,
yeah, they both fell for it.
How? Like, what's the story?
So, King Solomon, as he becomes king, he asks. God says, "I'm going to give you whatever wish you desire," and he desires wisdom. So he becomes the wisest king. He actually, on record, it appears that he is the richest man to have ever lived. And great kingdom. Kings and queens are coming thousands of miles to come to him. He was like the first consultant ever. Like he was getting paid millions of dollars in gold from these other kings to consult them. He's extremely wise. And in his younger years, he writes a bunch of the proverbs that are in the Bible. And he constantly, like I would say like a third of it is just talking about avoiding lust, avoiding these evil women, things like that. And he's constantly emphasizing that. But in his later years, he starts slipping up. And he marries foreign women that destroy his kingdom. And he eventually is overtaken by his sons. And that destroys his legacy. He was the wisest man, the richest man to ever live, was flourishing. And it all went to hell when he fell for lust.
Did he like realize that at the time? Did he like write about that?
He wrote about it at the end of his life in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is one of the hardest books in the Bible to read because it talks about how everything, he realizes how meaningless all of this is without purpose. And he says, like, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. And he just realized that we're just toiling under the sun if we don't have deeper purpose. And he talks briefly about his mistakes and urging the young men to go in the right path. And that's where if you don't bite that in the butt young, or you allow that to continue to stir in your heart, it will only destroy you. I think a lot of people just think, oh yeah, I'm good at I haven't watched porn in 6 months, or I'm good for right now. But if you're just checking the surface level action and not the deeper heart issue, it's eventually going to come back up. It's a heart issue. It's everything starts with the heart. It's not the action that you got to take a look at. You got to look under the hood, see what's really going on. And that's where you got to flee and you got to put yourself in a position where you don't even desire it anymore.
The vanity part, I remember you saying something last night as well, that like you either live for vanity or live for purpose or something like that, right?
Yep. So he doesn't say that directly, but I think that's really what he's applying in Ecclesiastes is everything, like he talks about, we toil under the sun. Everything we do is just vanity. And I think he's realizing how meaningless this life is because he lived for all these worldly pleasures and he's regretting it. And I think that's where there's no amount of this is why I hate hustle culture, because it teaches young men that if you get the girl, you get the cars, you get the money, then you'll be happy. But as I said earlier, what's even more tragic than trying to get something and failing is trying to get something and achieving it and realizing it's not enough. That's what Solomon's getting out there. All of life is vanity without a deeper purpose. When you don't have a purpose that comes from God. And for me, like, of course, it is okay to have ambition. You should have ambition. But if your validation isn't secure, if you're not doing it for a greater reason than just you and for selfish reasons, man, poor you. That's a miserable life. I don't want it.
What do you think about Andrew Tate?
Andrew Tate is a rough one because he'll say like one out of every like 10 things. I'm like, man, he's spot on. Then I'll just see another clip. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I think he has led so many men astray. I think there's obviously the blue pill, the red pill mentality. I think there's a lot of men who have fallen into this disease of wokeism. And then there's so many other men who are like, wait a minute, this blue pill's bad. I'm going to go follow the red pill, Andrew Tate, get the girls, get the money, then I'll be good. And they fall flat.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely miserable. And they've just caused a just path of destruction behind them. I think the phrase toxic masculinity is completely misguided because masculinity, the real true biblical masculinity, isn't being weak, but it's also not living for you like Andrew Tate. It is living to provide, protect, serve other people. And when you live with that goal, that is real masculinity. Anything else is not real masculinity. Andrew Tate promotes a false version of masculinity that only inflates the ego and only destroys your life.
Let's switch from religion. Let's go to politics and just, I was thinking you were just saying like the blue pill, the red pill, and it's like, this year, and I didn't even like, I'm not like a Trumper. I don't really give a damn about politics, to be honest with you, but like I had more faith this go around in politics than I ever have, and there's been a lot of mishaps or hiccups now, and I'm just like, dude, we're just like screwed. Like
they're all in on
it. Like we as citizens have like no help. Like a vote doesn't even matter at this point. It's like I just feel helpless, to be honest with you, with everything that's going on, and I'm so glad I don't pay attention to the news or any of this stuff. And you told me, you're like, oh well, did you know like the Epstein files are now like eradicated, or like Trump's like, nope, like that's gone.
They say they don't exist.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is insane, dude. Like this is just, I just can't, man.
I think it is a reflection of good men being passive. I think the biggest disease in our country, far more than any political figure or any literal disease, is passivity. I think good men staying silent, shutting up and being good little boys is exactly what the people in power and what the devil wants. And I think the more, and I think this is why so many of us are this easy short-term pleasure is thrown at so many men and it destroys their life, whether it's Whether it could be porn, it could be scrolling, it could be processed food or whatever. It just pacifies us. And when we are sedated, we can't stand up for what's right. And whether people are Christian or whether they're not, if you're more comfortable in your life and you're unwilling to see evil and speak up about it, that should alarm you. And I think that's the vast majority of the population, is people are too happy with just enough comfort. Like, they know they're miserable, but they have just enough comfort to where it's good enough and they won't say anything. They don't want to rock the boat. There's actually, Chris Williams talks about this, I believe it's called the region beta paradox. It basically talks about how if something is a mile or less away, you'll walk to it. But if it's more than a mile, you'll drive to it. Even if it's less than a mile, it'd take you way less time to get to it. And what he's basically saying, the region beta paradox, is this: you are just comfortable enough to where you won't do anything about your situation. So that it would actually be even better if you were worse off, so that you'd be driven to make a change. And I think that's what most people are. They're just comfortable enough. They won't stand up for what's right. They won't rock the boat. And that's why we stay in this situation where we have politicians who are pedophiles. We have politicians covering this up, lying to the people, and slowly destroying our society with inflation, with price gouging, all of these things, because nobody will actually stand up because they're just comfortable enough.
What can we do about it?
I think the first thing is speaking up about it. I made a video last week calling Christians cowards for not talking about the Epstein files, because if we say we love life, we want to support people from womb to tomb, and we want to stand up for the people who can't stand up for themselves, as Christ called us to do, yet we won't talk about this, we are not standing firm in our convictions. I think the first thing is talking about it, and I think this is one of the good things about social media, is that people are talking about the evil of the world, but I think the second step is uniting around it. Now, I'm not saying this is rioting. I'm not inciting any of that.
Right.
But I am saying that the more we're actually fed up about this, I think the more change will actually happen. I don't know. I really don't know what the answer is at this point, but I think it's just bringing more awareness to the evil that is there, and being aware that left and right, they couldn't care less about you.
What do you think about Kennedy and the Make America Healthy Again movement? Are you satisfied with it? Do you not like what he's doing? What's your thoughts?
I hate that the Make America Healthy Again movement has become something that's political. I get it. I mean, he's involved with the Trump administration. It's going to be political. I just wish that more Americans could be united in the fact that we are trying to make a change. I think he's doing a great job, but I think the Trump administration, they've recently pushed back on like the fluoride ban.
Okay.
So I'm more just fed up with the Trump administration more than anything. I think they are limiting what Kennedy can actually do, but I think some of his discoveries about jabs and things like that, I think is phenomenal. And I think him getting food dyes banned, I think things like that are great. But I think we just need to make health easier, cheaper for more Americans.
I totally agree, man. I mean, what can Americans do for that first step with, their own health, as far as like not waiting for the government to do it? Like for me, for instance, it's like cleaning up your water, like getting a reverse osmosis water system, because the government is not going to clean up the water anytime soon, Yeah. So it's like you got to do the little things to make your family better.
Yeah, you got to understand.
For the government.
You got to understand, no one's coming to save you. I think expecting the government to fix things for you it's not going to happen. Right. They're just incompetent. But yeah, just taking those quick first steps, investing, because you can either spend the money now at the grocery store, you can spend it later at the hospital. It's a matter, you are going to spend money on your health somewhere. It's just, you want to invest it now? And I think the earlier you start, the less money you have to spend. So I think it's as simple as just a few things. Getting better sleep, that's free. Yeah. Going on walks, that's free. All of those things are free. So it's just starting with the basic movement and the basic rest is a game changer. Then it's eating the healthiest food you can. Most of us, or not most of us, but a lot of people, they can't afford the grass-fed, or they can't afford the organic. Go for the regular beef. Yeah. Go for the regular produce. Just make sure you wash it. Yeah. Like, just doing what you can, and then the more money you have, the more you invest into your health. But it's just starting with the simple things, doing what you can, and being satisfied with that. I think if the average American just ate a little less processed food, they looked at their grocery bill and saw how much they were spending on that, they would realize that they can actually afford a lot of these foods, and then start getting enough sleep. man, they're going to feel amazing.
And they're going to be more productive at work. They're maybe potentially going to make more money, have more free time, feel better. They're going to inspire others. They're going to inspire their family. It's like it's a upward spiral and not a downward spiral.
I believe that health is the ultimate status symbol and the ultimate measure of wealth. If you look at all of these billionaires, so look at Jeff Bezos. What do they do as soon as they get money? They hop on TRT because they fried their bodies. They've got all this money and they realize, shoot, I don't have health. I got to fix this. So the younger you prioritize your health, I think that's going to set you up for more riches. It's going to set you up for more freedom. Because at the end of the day, if I told you you can have, I'll write you $1 million check, you would say, well, what would you say? Like, if I was like, you want $1 million check?
That'd be nice. I'll invest it.
But there's one condition.
Okay.
You'll die tomorrow. Would you accept that check?
No way.
Absolutely not. So what is more valuable, money or time?
Time.
Time is the most valuable thing. So you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have time from protecting your health, you're screwed. That's why I think the most valuable thing you can invest in, above real estate, above a car, is investing in your health. But I think because of that, as you were saying, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to exude love, joy, peace. And because of that, your life is going to be a million times better. I think investing in your health, there is zero negative that can come out of that. I think it'll make you more money. You'll be a lot happier.
I feel like a lot of people don't know what it feels like to feel good. They just have like their baseline of like, that comfortability, that 2 hours at night, that's Netflix, and they feel comfortable with that. But they've never known what it feels like to move in a weird movement and feel strong in that, or to have, aura, like to feel good, like ultimately like, oh, I can pick this up, or I can move this, or I can reach above my head until I'm 90, the shoulder flexion, like all this stuff, man. It's like there's no parameter on which that we can calculate like how much we need to do this. It's so amazing, dude.
We've normalized average as acceptable. I think the average acceptable baseline for health is nowhere near what it should be. People don't realize how good they could feel. I've had clients who have just started by getting 2 extra hours of sleep within a week. I had a client who started getting 8 hours of sleep every night. He dropped 20 pounds in 4 weeks.
Wow.
Like, it's that simple. You make small little changes, it transforms everything.
Yeah. Small numbers add up.
Mm-hmm.
Big time, dude. What does your life look like in 5 to 10 years? What do you want to be? I remember you telling me this a while ago, that you want to be on these big stages talking about this stuff. Bring me into that. Or has it changed?
Yeah, it's still one that I'm trying to figure out. I have goals, but I know that God's plans are greater than anything I could ever imagine. So I'm just letting him lead me. I believe the current mission for me is to bring non-Christians to Christ, and then to help Christians build physical, mental, and spiritual health. That's my mission as of right now. And I want to continue to do that through coaching, through content. And then, yes, my dream is to be on big stages talking about Jesus, talking about health, whatever it is. I want to be on stages one day, and I believe that's what I could be doing, and if I continue to work towards it. But I'm open to anything. And there's a few things that I'm very passionate about, but I do believe whatever I do will be pushing back darkness, saying things that make people uncomfortable, and helping people transform their life, whatever that is. It could be fighting human trafficking, for all I know. Like, I would love to go do that, but it also could be on a stage. So I'm keeping options open. I'm getting married in November, so that's the next big thing. I know that was the next 5 to 10 years. That'll be a big part of it. So.
That's huge, bro. I'd love that. Abby supports you so much, man. That's amazing.
100%. She's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Is there any other quotes that you live by that aren't Bible verses, but something somebody said and it just really stuck with you?
Yes. On the plane ride to California, I read a quote in a book that is like, I'm getting that on my wall. Like, it was insane. Hold on, let me find this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this prayer from Sir Francis Drake was said. This prayer from Sir Francis Drake was prayed before he tried to be the first man to circumnavigate the world, and it is crazy. It is really an incredible quote. Disturb us, O Lord, when we are too well pleased with ourselves, when our dreams have come true because we dreamed too little, when we arrived safely because we sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, O Lord, when with the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. Having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity. And in our efforts to build a new earth, we have allowed our vision of the new heaven to dim. Disturb us, O Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on wider seas where storms will show your mastery. Where losing sight of land, we shall find the stars. We ask you to push back the horizons of our hopes and to push us in the future in strength, courage, hope, and love. This we ask in the name of our captain, who is Jesus Christ. This prayer is transformational to my life, and I'm going to say it every day.
What is that? Yeah, summarize that for me.
I think he said there, like, when we have too little faith or we sail too close to shore, when we dream or we believe in too little, we have too little faith. And what I think he's saying there is oftentimes we minimize the power of God in our lives, and that we don't realize that he's the God of the impossible. And this isn't like a prosperity gospel, like, oh, God's going to give me candy and Cadillacs. There's going to be suffering in this life, but when we dream big and we recognize that under our own strength, we can't do a lot, but through God, we can do anything. So it's just having that faith to do incredible things that make a lasting impact on so many people instead of selling ourselves short because we don't have enough faith. I think oftentimes I struggle with having too little faith. I've seen the goodness that God has done in my life. He's brought me through 3 brain surgeries. He's brought me through over a dozen seizures, yet still I have doubts sometimes that I'm going to get through this portion of my life. Like, how could I do that? And then I look back and I look at the disciples who doubted after Jesus was crucified that anything good would happen, after they saw Jesus do all the miracles he had done. And the disciples doubted, even after all of those things they saw Jesus do personally. So it's no wonder I still doubt, but I'm reminded over and over of the goodness of God, and I have to keep that faith even in the hard times.
I love that, dude. That's really cool. Just dream bigger. I like how he said shake it up, like shake things up. That's so cool.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to talk about, get off your chest? What? Tell me.
Yes. Okay. I don't think I talked about it enough in this podcast. Is just, well, I mentioned it a little bit, but I just really like diving into it more, is just the subject of intentional discomfort. I think, as we talked about, this world more than anything wants you to be comfortable, because if you're comfortable, you're sedated and you won't fight back against the evil. You won't experience true freedom with your health, your finances, your faith. And when we choose intentional discomfort, we are building ourselves to push through anything that gets in our way. Embracing that short-term discomfort leads to long-term pleasure. And also, there's a bunch of science behind it. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex, have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's an area of your brain that governs willpower. And it grows when you do something intentionally that you don't want to do. And it is directly connected to much higher levels of happiness, resilience, and fulfillment. So they've done tests on people who they do ultra marathons. They do things that absolutely suck, and their mid-cingulate cortex is far larger than anybody else. And then the people who are miserable in life, small mid-cingulate cortex. So you got to develop that.
So David Goggins is like this big.
Andrew Huberman talked about, that's how I heard about it. He talked about it with David Goggins. I'd love to see a study of his brain and see where that's at. So I think it's just an area of the brain God designed for, if you're willing to embrace the suck, you will get rewards massively out of it.
We have this primal reflex in us that when we do hard things, we get a reward. When we chase after this deer for miles on end and maybe for days or whatever, we get the reward of feeding our village for a week or two. You know, it's like we have this innate sense in us that we need to do hard things to get things that are worth having. And it's like nowadays, it's like we go and order food right to our mouth. We have we don't have to go hunt for anything. It's like everything is just given to us. It's so sad, and a lot of people are losing touch with purpose, or just
100%
having a feeling of being satisfactory in their own life. You know, it's literally to that. I think that's why cold plunges are addicting to a lot of people, because it is that unwillingness to do something hard for even a minute to 5 minutes. You know, and it's like they did it, they checked it off, which I love it. Good for them, but people are getting kind of like addicted to it because of, I think, that methodology.
Yeah, and the dopamine spike they get after. It's like I don't do cold plunges, but I do a cold shower every morning. Every single morning I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Every single morning I don't want to do this cold shower, and I try to talk myself out of it. And then I'm like, if I'm compromising this early into the day, where else am I going to compromise? So it's making that intentional effort to do something you don't want to do something that sucks right away, sets the rest of your day up for success because you are willing to do the very thing you don't want to do, and that's going to get you way farther. So
That's
I love
so
cold
cool.
plunges. Yeah.
I love that. That's a really cool perspective.
Yeah, whenever I think about it, whenever I think about something I don't want to do, I ask myself, am I compromising right now, Nate? Are you compromising? And if the answer is yes, I'm like, all right, you got to do it.
I love that, dude.
No compromises.
Yeah, it reminds me of my really good buddy Joe that's a MMA fighter, and he does a cold plunge every single day.
Wow.
Now, that might be, a little overboard, but it's really cool to me to see that much grit and, like, perseverance and,
100%.
like, there's something to that mentally. He talks about that, like, dude, most days I will stand there in front of the freezing cold tub that he's built, and he's like, I don't want. He like tries to like talk himself out of it, but he'll be standing there for like 10 minutes and just fuck it, boom, go in. It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, the cold exposure one is like, you do not want to do it. That's why like I won't turn the shower on and then get in. I get in and then I crank it. I'm like I'm not gonna let myself get out of this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, bro. I really like that. I think I should implement that more because, I did the Barbarian Challenge recently, and I wish if you didn't have the history of seizures, I'd be like, bro, you should do this, man. But like, that raised the bar in my head of what I can handle, and like, it was close to some of the things that I did in the Marine Corps. So that's been 12 plus years now, and it's like I needed that touch up with reality. Like, oh, Austin, you can do extremely hard things if you put your mind to it. So I need that, like, maybe not as intense as the Barbarian, but in little doses, kind of here and there, or a cold shower every day. Like, I would love to hear more about, easier ways to do hard things right off the get.
I think it's just do something that sucks right away.
Yeah.
For you, that could be, like, for somebody watching, it could be going on a walk right away, not going on social media for 30 minutes.
That's right.
I think that's a huge one. But just doing something that sucks every single day the ROI out of that is insane. So, I mean, I think, for you, is the Barbarian reminding you, I'm capable of a lot more than I think. For me, it was the seizures. When I am in a tough position in my life and I think, man, I don't know if I'm going to get through this. I'll look back. I'm like, I got through that and get through anything. And I think that's where real confidence comes from. It's, as Alex Hormozy says, you don't build confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror. You build confidence by proving you are who you say you are.
Reps.
Going through discomfort intentionally proves you are who you say you are. You have that evidence. So something that sucks, whatever you guys watching, whatever that thing is that comes to your mind right now that you know you should do, but you don't want to do, that's the thing you got to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you're pushing off the most. Yeah, I mean, even like building a lot of organic Jaguar, a lot of the times it's like grinding for so long, and it's like, I don't want to do this, but I look at what I built and what I want as the future, and it's like, dude, little by little, it's like you got to do the hard things, and that's the road worth paving.
100%.
It's the journey it's like, speaking about the journey, it's like the person that wants let's just say going on a walk. Mind Pump Sal said this like really well. And he's like, the person that loves walking will walk farther than the person that wants to be at the end point. I kind of messed up that quote, but it's like, if you enjoy the journey and the ups and downs of it, you're going to enjoy the heck more out of life than getting to that point of being a billionaire or whatever, XYZ, fill in the blank,
I got to ask you, because this is definitely something that I struggle with, and we've talked about this before. How do you enjoy the journey instead of just being focused on the end goal?
I like spilled some coffee on me before this podcast, and I just like laugh. Like, I'm just like, this is hilarious. Like the little bumps, the little hiccups that I get, whether it's in business or, especially in business, I kind of like laugh about it. Like, okay, I'm going to work through this. This is a lot of like the Marine Corps instilled in me is like, you just keep pushing, you just keep freaking going, and you'll eventually get there. And for me, it's like, you spoke about it, like, oh, you hit these goals, and it's like the goal kind of gets higher and higher. It has for me because I've hit a lot of these. I'm so thankful I've hit a lot of these goals with Organic Jaguar. But like, I'm so thankful for where I'm at today because, we'll talk about materialistic things. I love cars, right? I got the Corvette sitting in the driveway. That's badass. I had dreamed of that as a teenager, and it's like I absolutely love it. And I'm just enjoying where I'm at today, where my feet are today, because I don't know when this could end. And I try to be as present as possible, like especially with my friends and stuff, and having like fun times or surfing and all that. It's like this could all end, and I could be, working my ass off on the computer, but am I enjoying it? It's like I do these things in my life. I try to do things often that I enjoy, like surfing, because it brings me in the present moment. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this again in 2 years from now because I hit a tree or whatever, knock on wood. But yeah, the journey for me has been like very enjoyable. And I'm like, okay, well, I've already hit certain goals in my life that I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that. So it's like, am I either going to keep pushing the bar higher, or am I just going to enjoy where my feet are at? But honestly, the quote about like the person that loves walking is going to walk farther than the person that loves the end point, the end destination. So like, I'm just enjoying the heck out of the journey. And it's a little bit easier because now with the business, like it's kind of like the road's kind of shaped a little bit. It's like I'm not like, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do like I was for my whole 20s. Like I didn't know that I was going to do this, So I'm so thankful for it, and it definitely has kind of like honed into a more clear path.
Yeah, it was like kind of a dirt road at the beginning, rocky, rough terrain.
Very.
But the more you keep going, the closer you get to like a smooth path.
Yeah, and it's, there's definitely ups and downs and days where it's tougher. But dude, I have construction going on next door. I'm like, dude, I'm so glad I'm not doing construction. I'm so glad I'm not doing physical labor. Like I dreamed of this life of having financial stability. I've always been paycheck to paycheck my whole freaking life, always. Yeah, and like maxing out 3 credit cards to get this going, and then eventually paying that off, and then employing my mom, and now I'm buying her a house. It's like so freaking cool, man. It's like, what more could I want? Like I have the things. I'm working on my spiritual health. Like I'm getting to have a better relationship with God and spirituality, and it's going well. And I don't really need much more, dude. I love where I'm at. I have a great family. I have great friends. Like, I'm not trying to make this sound like a fucking gratitude podcast, but it's like, I really am enjoying where my feet are at.
That's amazing.
And it's like, I don't want to be 70 and be like, damn, I wish I did this and this more. No, heck no, I'm doing this shit now. Going to the Grand Canyon with Melody and all that, and like doing these fun things, having fun with Brendan and the boys. It's like, dude, if I died tomorrow, I'd be like, I did it. I had a good time, man. I enjoyed where the heck I'm at. I do struggle with presence, but a lot of that's from social media and stuff. So
yeah, social media will do that to you.
Yeah, that's a tough balance.
Yeah, that's one, like, literally while you were talking, I started thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I got to get a post up today. And then I'm like, I need to be here right now. I can worry about that later.
Yeah, for sure, bro. It's very, construction, you clock in, you get it, you're down, you're out. With this thing, it's like it can always be there. You can always do work. You can always.
You're never off the clock.
Yeah, it is very tough. That's one of the harder things with content creation, but I'm so thankful for it. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Questions or things you'd like to say?
Trying to think.
Oh my God. Someone said, so much aura, bro. Just take my wife. Bro.
Aura Maxon over here.
That's crazy. Oh my God. We're going to end on that note. I'm so thankful for my little brother Nate being here today. I mean, not even especially physical little anymore. He's taller than me, bigger than me.
I ain't taller than you. You got a little height on me.
I don't know about that. But yeah, man, I'm just like hearing Nate's story about the seizures. I mean, I literally was talking and texting with him through all of it, but just to hear it like summarized right now in a 30-minute span was like mind blowing. Like, I'm so grateful to have you here right now to be talking with you, bro, because man, God has obviously a purpose and a direction with your life to be a servant and a beacon of hope and faith and inspiration to others. Because if there wasn't, dude, I don't think you'd be here right now. So it's amazing. I'm so thankful for you to be here. So thankful to be on this podcast, bro. I can't wait for everyone to hear this and to derive a lot of wisdom and inspiration. Where can people follow you at? If people want coaching with help with their life, where can they contact you, bro?
So you guys can follow me at Nate Fagen, NateFagen, on Instagram, Nate Fagen. Follow me there. I post a ton of fitness, faith, but more importantly, just integrating everything together. My mission on there is to tell people the uncomfortable truth. So, and that could be related to their walk with God. It could be related to their health. So be prepared if you're going to follow me. I'm going to say things that you're going to be uncomfortable with. Like, I'm going to push the boundaries, but I believe that's where growth happens. So I also do one-on-one coaching. My program's called Called to Conquer, and it's about integrating physical and spiritual alignment, which leads to mastery. So it's not just your cookie cutter fitness program. It is building physical, mental, spiritual all together. And the results that we've gotten with some of my clients have been incredible. So if you're interested in that, go to my Instagram, DM me the word conquer, or click the link in my bio. You can learn more about that. But yeah, it would be an honor to speak with you guys about that. So it's been a blessing.
Well,
And yeah, I really appreciate all the kind words, Austin. It's been an honor to be here, and I wouldn't be here without you either. I think what started my journey, I would say, of self-awareness or understanding why I do certain things and looking deeper instead of the what I'm doing, it's the why I'm doing. I think when you started your journey with your mental health and going to therapy and things like that, and you were so open about it with me, at a younger age, I start picking up on it, and I start thinking, and I start learning, and I wouldn't be here without you either. So it's, I think,
thank you, bro.
Donald Trump said this on a podcast with Theo Vaughn, Theo Vaughn said it to Donald Trump on a podcast. Oftentimes, the older brothers take the speed bumps, so the younger brothers don't have to, and I think that's spot on. So I'm incredibly grateful for you and all the speed bumps you went over, so that I didn't have to. Man, you're an incredible leader and incredible role model.
Dude, thank you, bro. I mean, I just want you to be better than me. I'm sure Dad wants that as well. It's like that's how humanity should be going, is like leveling each other up.
Yes.
And iron sharpens iron, and
100%.
getting, to a higher consciousness and not going downwards and feeding the devil, feeding God, So yeah, bro, I appreciate you saying those words, man. It means a lot. And yeah, man, I always knew, like, those deeper, vulnerable conversations, when you're younger, recently, whatever, dude, it's like, I know that if it plants a seed in your mind and you can grow that seed to be a tree and taller than mine, dude, hell yeah. Like, that's all I want, man, So I know that we're really good people, and we deserve to show others what it's like, and that they should be here right next to us or above us, and it's really cool. So we're meant to serve, and dude, I'm serving you, you're serving me. I learned from you, bro, so keep it up, man.
Thank you.
Heck yeah, bro.
I appreciate it, brother.
I love you, bro.
Love you too.
Dang, dude. That was great.
Woo! Thanks for watching, guys.
Woo!